Alright bashers, in this video we got the Traxxas Maxx Slash 6S, and if you watch the channel you saw us do the first impressions where we got it out of the box and had a look at what you get and all that good stuff. And this one, we run it through its paces and then we tell you what we think of it. Now we don't watch other channels, so you're only going to find out what we think of this car. And we ran it pretty good and we ran it a long time. We ran on 6S and 4S. And we'll give you our thoughts on that, and then we're going to ask our 4 questions. And they are, is it fun? Is it durable? Is it worth the money? And what's the total points here at the channel? This should be pretty informative. Check this out. So let's get straight into that running footage. Well, let's pay attention to the track, shall we? Pop the body loose. So there you go. That's the running footage for what we've done with this, and we ran quite a few batteries through it, and we have some initial impressions that we want to share right off the bat. And one is this thing handles really good, but it handles really poorly on 6S. It's not really much for 6S. It gets out of pocket just like the Centon did, and it really shines on 4S. This thing, the weight, the way the displacement works and all that stuff, it's just out of pocket on 6S. And a lot of what you saw in that video package was 4S action, and that's what really seems to shine. The tires get a little better traction in that, and it's just a lot more controllable. So 4S seems to be where this thing really rocks. And of course, we ran it in our normal conditions. We take it out to wherever you're gonna bash, and we had a good time. And like any short course truck, it tumbles and rolls and all that stuff because it kind of flies like a brick. The thing is, most short course trucks do, because the bodies kind of act like parachutes. They're not really designed with a lot of suspension to them. It's not a big monster truck that's designed for that thing. Like, for example, the Outcast and the Sledge, both of those handle rough terrain better than this will, but you definitely want to have some sort of groomed surface to play on. It doesn't have to be completely dialed in because this handles bumps pretty well, but at the same time you want some sort of flattish kind of surface to run it on to really make it shine. And it corners beautifully and it acts just the way a short course truck should. And this thing seems to get a pretty tough rap as far as what people are saying out there. And like I say, we don't watch all the videos to see what's going on, but we still hear talk when we're at the hobby stores and whatnot. And this does get a pretty bad rap. Part of it's because it's Traxxas, and part of it's because people try to run these on 6S, and it really should be a 4S car. I mean, even the Centon 6S really shines at 4S because that's about the right kind of power for the platform. Although this one does have belted tires on it, which manages the power a little better, it just doesn't control as well on 6S as it does on 4. That being said, this thing is kind of, well, let's look at it this way. It's made out of plastic. It doesn't have an aluminum chassis. It's all plastic, and it does have some connectors here, and they're right on the edge of the body. And let's just give you a look at those really quick. But those connectors, there we go, just like that. Now these connectors right here on the body, let's see if I can get a grip on this for you. Right here, these hook into these side rails right here, and that's what they connect to. And when you jump, these rattle pretty good when they hit the ground, and it gives it kind of a plasticky sound when it hits the ground. It doesn't sound substantial. It sounds kind of cheap, and that's just because of the way the body rattles on it that gives it that sound. But at the same time, it has that sound, and it just kind of sounds cheap because of the way it sounds when it hits the ground. You don't have to be very far off the ground to have it slap a little bit and give you that hollow sound. And we're getting the same thing out of the X-Maxx, and our solve for that was we took the side rails off of the X-Maxx where the body hits, and it stopped that chatter, and the X-Maxx sounds a lot better without them. Still, on this one, these support the body, so I wouldn't take those off. There might be a way you could pad those a little so it doesn't sound so nasty, but it does have that sound. That being said, I want to give you a reminder real quick. When we get these out of the box for the unboxing videos, we don't change anything. We get it out of the box, we install battery, we pull trigger. That's the way we do it because generally that's the way new people to the hobby will do it. They'll buy something like this, they'll pop a battery in it, and they'll take it right out and run it. They won't take it apart and check the pumpkins on the differentials and everything to make sure the fluids are right, make sure all the screws are tight, all that stuff. That's the way new people handle it, so that's the way we handle it here at the channel. We pulled this out of the box, we installed a battery, and we started playing with it, and we still haven't wrenched on it yet. It's running just the way it came out of the box, and that's the way we like to do things. We do modify specific cars, and we let you know in those videos which ones we're doing that. We've done complete builds, like for example, we turned the Notorious into an Outcast that's highly customized, and we'll let you know about that stuff ahead of time. On this stuff, we run it right as it gets, so when you get one out of the box, yours should do everything ours is doing. And this has the running gear out of the Sledge in it, so that's a good thing. It has the 2000 kV motor in it. It has the same speed control as the Sledge and the UDR, and we've had no issues with either of those in either of those other vehicles. They're one of our favorite speed controls from Traxxas, and we've had problems with just about every other one we've got from them, but this one seems to hold up, and it's got a lot of snap to it. The brakes work really good. We've had no issues as far as that goes. The acceleration is off the chart with this when you pin it, and that's the fun part of it, is watching it throw dirt and take off like a missile. It's really cool to see. So let's get down on the bench. We'll take a look over what's in there, and we'll take a close look at the car and see if anything was damaged on first inspection. I didn't see anything broken, so let's have a closer look. Okay, so looking at the front concussion ring and the bumper, everything looks like it's in really good shape. No problems there. Everything looks nice and tight. The arms from the front and the shocks look good. Let's have a look at the back side here. And the connecting rods and all of the arms there, everything on the servo and the arms on the other side all look good. The mounting points are good. No damage inside of the chassis that we can see so far. Motor mount seems to be straight there. The back mounts for the body look good. And that back ring still looks to be intact. Let's have a look at the arms here. So far so good. Everything looks like it's in good shape still. And this did take quite a few tumbles. Front side of the arms, no damage there. Looking at the tower area here, everything is unbroken, and the arms there are also good. Not bad. Not bad at all. So the grip on the back is still holding up well. This does not have the wheelie bar, so that's one thing. Overall here, I still haven't noticed anything out of pocket. Let's look at the bottom side of the arms. That arm's in good shape. That arm there also in good shape. You can see the rash on the chassis. Still nothing broken on that arm there. This one also looks to be in pretty good shape. A little nick there, but nothing major. And the handle is undamaged. Chassis has no fractures. And the bottom of the front bumper looks good as well. So our inspection was good. We had no damage, which is a good thing. This is a tough truck, I'll give it that. We did throw one tire and we lost the lug nut, so we had to replace that. But we were able to find that little puck that holds the wheel on, so that was a big bonus. We got that all dialed in. As far as durability goes, nothing broke, so that's a good thing as well. It has lots of power. The speed control acted just the way it's supposed to. The tires work pretty good, but I wish they were a little bit more aggressive. They just seem to be a little on the light side as far as aggression goes, but still, they worked really well, and we ran it a lot on 4S, and they handled beautifully there. They don't swell much on 6S, which is a good thing, but at the same time, they're kind of a smooth tread pattern, and that smooth tread pattern will skitter a little extra in the rolly stuff, so you can't always have nice, hard-packed, like baseball diamond clay to run in. Sometimes you have to run in what there is, and when you get into something that's got a little bit of light traction to it, let's say, it definitely gets a little out of pocket with that, and that's a direct derivative of what the tires provide to the car. At the same time, they do well for what they are. So let's take a minute and talk about the steering servo. I'm not a fan of the mounting system for it. It's got the 3-point mount in it, and you do have to have the adapter if you want to swap it over to a more mainstream style of servo. Still, this one is functioning properly, and we have three of these type of servos, and at the same time, we've never had one fail. Could they be faster? Yes, they could be faster, but for the way this car handles, especially the way we like to drive, it did just fine. So as far as the servo goes, until we need to replace one, the servo's functioning properly. And since we're on the subject of the servo, let's take a look at the radio system, and this is a standard radio for Traxxas, and these come with just about everything. Some of them have extra switches for like the TRX4 stuff, so you can control the differentials and whatnot. This is basically your standard here, and it does have the spot in the back for the Bluetooth module. This one does not come with that, so you'll have to buy that extra if you want that compatibility with your phone, which allows you to change the settings and whatnot for the car. Also, having that in there allows this to sync to more than one car, so you can save each car's settings on the app, which is very helpful. This is comfortable in the hand, as they usually are. The range is good, the speed is good, the spring tension is really nice on them. I just wish they had more controls on it as opposed to having to get into the app to adjust things. I like things on the fly where you can just turn the brakes or the gyro or whatever you're playing with up and down right now while you're playing, because if you come into, let's say you're running something and you're playing with your friends and you're trying to get around something, If I'm hitting the brakes too hard and sliding out in a corner, I can just dial it down really quick and get back in the action, and it will take that slide out a little bit because it's just braking too hard, or I'm not braking enough. I can just dial it up a little bit and correct that on the fly instead of stopping, having to get inside the app and adjust it that way. Even the DX5s, those ones you have to get into the menu, or you have to reach down and start fidgeting with the little switches that are on them. They do work and they function well once your car's set up. That's kind of like this one. But when you get the DX3 out, for example, the brakes and the gyro are right there on the front, so you can adjust it on the fly. I'm really a fan of that. But this does work, and at the hobby store they say this is the one radio to rule them all, because you can sync your cars to this one transmitter and just go into the menu and switch which car you're playing with, which is pretty cool. All that being said, it's time to get on to our 4 questions. And question number 1, is this thing fun? Well, for short course trucks, yes, this one's fun. It fits right in there with all of the other ones, and it is good sized. It's big like the Mojave, and it does rip right along. In a future video, we may compare it to that one, but as it stands right now, out of the box, this handles just like most of the other short course trucks do. And it's really comparable when you put it against the Centon 6S, which they don't make anymore, versus this one. Now, this one's got a little bit more substantial base to it and that kind of thing, but at the same time, it's right in there with the other ones. This one's pretty controllable for what it is. And so for the fun factor, we're going to give this one 8 out of 10 for fun, because it could do a little better, I think, with better tires on it as far as the traction goes. For the conditions we run in, and this doesn't apply to everybody, you guys keep in mind, we rate it by where we run and how it performs for us. 8 out of 10 seems fair. And question number 2, is this thing durable? It literally broke nothing, and we didn't hold anything back. We pushed it on 6S, we pushed it on 4S, and it is still unscathed. You looked over it with us, and it is unbroken in every way, and it's functioning perfectly. We lost one wheel nut, and that was simply because I didn't check it before we got out there and started. So that's a simple thing. Always check your wheel nuts, but at the same time, nothing's literally broken. We only had to put a wheel nut on it, and that was it. So I'm not going to count it against the wheel nut, because really, I should have checked that before, and I believe I took one of them off to have a look at how the hubs were built, and that's the one that came off. So I'm going to eat that one. That one's landing completely on me. As far as durability goes, this one's going to get 10 of 10 for durability, because it held up nicely and there were no issues whatsoever. It is outstanding as far as tough trucks go. 10 of 10. And question number 3, is this thing worth the money? Well, as of the filming of this video, as of right now, A-Main Hobbies is selling them for $699.95. Rounded, it's $700 for this machine. And that's a big chunk of change. It really is. Whenever we get up into those higher numbers, you got to wonder, you know, is it worth the value of the vehicle? I mean, does it have to be that expensive? If this was built as a 4S car instead of a 6S car, it might be less expensive and then reachable for more people. But at the same time, that's a lot of money. It really is. And if you don't have a charger and batteries, you have to invest in those as well, which can raise the value or the cost of the car even more. As far as that goes, for the value, for what you get, the way it handles, the durability of the vehicle, and the potential for outlaying more money for batteries and a charger, we're going to give this one 8 out of 10 for value, because you do get a lot for your money. It does hold up and it does drive really nicely. So for value, it's 8 of 10. And finally, question 4. What's the total score here at the channel? Well, this one's going to get 26 out of 30. And that's fair. It really is. I think this thing gets a bad rap. It's an outstanding vehicle. It's fun to play with. And 26 of 30 is fair. So there you go. That's our review for the Traxxas Maxx Slash 6S. I'm really glad we have one here at the channel. This one is pretty cool. And you know, we don't pick favorites here as far as companies go. We are neutral as far as that go. We don't care who builds what. We just want to see the product and see what it is. If you love Traxxas, awesome. Traxxas makes pretty cool stuff. If you don't like Traxxas, that's fine too. That's what this whole thing's about. Pick something that works for you. We don't trash on companies because of how they do business. We don't trash on them for anything. We want to see the products and we rate them completely by that. This is a totally non-sponsored video. This is just us doing what we do to help the community, which is what our channel has been based on from the start. If you haven't already, don't forget to bash that like button and help our content spread. You know, it helps more than you know, and it's free. So it only takes a second to click that little thumbs up, and that helps our message get out to others. If you have anything you'd like to add to this video, please feel free to get in the comments down below and help others along the way. For AJ Jam Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep bashing.